One side note on Michelle Obama, can we just note how overrated she is? And like all the hype around Michelle Obama, oh, she's going to run for office. And she's just, I don't want to get into the aesthetics of all of it, but the presentation of her podcast is terrible.
Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
This time, Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk needed less than 5 minutes to flip Michelle Obama's polished persona into a political punchline, one hit with raw podcast honesty. The other charged in like a college debater on Red Bull, and together they shattered her image like a gluten-free cookie at a Texas barbecue. Michelle's trademark calm was missing completely. Whatever they said left her legacy looking like a motivational poster caught in a thunderstorm. This takedown came packed with proof, sarcasm, and absolutely no chill.
She's just whining all the time and she's complaining. Right, again, I'm not trying to look at people's looks. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the whole aura of it, to use a Gen Z term, is terrible. It's negative. It's just kind of her lamenting. And then she's obviously, there's problems with her daughters and all that. I don't want to get...
Michelle Obama's PR team must be exhausted at this point because they're still trying to shine up a statue built on contradictions. Hoping it won't seem so empty, they keep pushing the image of a grassroots-loving, kale-growing, hope-preaching queen of wokeness while she lives like royalty in a Whole Foods version of Versailles. It's basically like doing a podcast on minimalism while sitting in a gold-plated Bentley with Gucci as the sponsor.
Good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah! Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy movements in it.
And speaking of podcasts, Joe Rogan didn't need to lift a single kettlebell to throw shade. Just an eye roll, a raised eyebrow, and a quiet, "What are we doing?" was enough to crack Michelle's image like a stale vegan cookie forgotten in a Malibu mansion pantry, while the rest of the media walks on eggshells around her like she's Queen Beyoncé's serious twin Rogan just being there makes Michelle's contradictions fall apart like a TDTD by Vibes and bestseller lists.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 man.
Charlie Kirk, meanwhile, is out here rubbing his hands like a raccoon spotting a hot dog in a parking lot. Say what you will about him, and let's be real. We all have, but the guy can spot political theater a mile away, and Michelle Obama fresh off Memoir number 5, Doc number 4, and her 30,000th magazine cover titled something like Why I'm Still Relatable just delivered a performance that deserved a Razzie. And let's not forget, this is the same Michelle who, with her classic slow blink seriousness, said she hates politics right before launching a massive voter drive packed with enough balloons to rival a Macy's parade, and just for good measure dropped another Netflix doc about how no one gets her misunderstood by who the gardeners in Martha's Vineyard.
But we built up on the right. Michelle Obama is going to be the hardest person ever to run against, and her book sold so many copies. And my goodness, you want to talk about the most overrated political hype of a generation? It would go to Michelle Obama. Anyway, that's just a side note that's been on my mind for a while.
I'm happy to make fun of her look. It's very strange. It was Benny Johnson who dubbed that one hairstyle the Stegosaurus.
I'm not getting into that.
So 3 bumps on the back, Stegosaurus. It's very...
Joe Rogan could barely make it through the recap of her latest Real Talk appearance without wheezing between sips as she clutched her wine glass and delivered emotional monologues about how tough life was in the White House with full-time staff, private chefs, designer wardrobes, and a security team that could pause time. Rogan cracked up, he straight up said. She talks like she laid every brick of the White House herself and then had to rent out rooms just to make ends meet. And Kirk, he lit up like someone handed him rules for radicals wrapped in Constitution leather. He practically launched a live PowerPoint arguing. Michelle Obama is the most successful American brand since Tide Pods, and now she's claiming that fame makes her feel invisible. Yes, really, the same woman who could sneeze and score a Vogue cover says she's unseen. It's like watching a Kardashian complain. They're not respected at a philosophy seminar. Rogan had just one question: does she think going invisible means putting on sunglasses and walking into Whole Foods with a security team? Charlie Kirk called it the ultimate liberal privilege. While Michelle talks about feeling invisible, most Americans are just trying to figure out if being rich, famous, and Oprah's bestie is the only way to vanish from a 9 to 5, and you'd think someone close to her might say, hey, Michelle, maybe don't compare your life challenges to literally everyone else's, but nope, she gets another Netflix contract, another book tour, another sold-out stadium full of crying white women paying $400 to hear how wearing a cardigan on The View was a life-altering struggle.
Were the women
I remember.
like
It's our little
secretly?
secret.
Yeah,
Yep,
this is what
I
they think
remember.
of. This
I
is
got
what
in a
they
lot
think of
trouble
Republican
over
women.
that. Of course. I mean, look, first of all, just like the embedded kind of just implied chauvinism that all of our relationships in the Trump world are like, we tell our wives exactly what to do. It's like, okay, no, we all have agency, okay? Secondly, I just have to comment on this. She's really lost a step. Just embedded in her language is like, she's really let Donald Trump.
Let's take a closer look at her so-called healthy food legacy. Remember when she single-handedly launched a war on school vending machines? Kids everywhere opened their lunch boxes to find kale chips, disappointment, and a note that basically said, Michelle said so. She did what bad cafeteria pizza and sour milk never could: unite students coast to coast in mutual outrage. Joe Rogan remembered trying one of those Michelle-approved snacks and said it tasted like cardboard soaked in sadness. Charlie Kirk still insists it was a master plan to raise a generation too underfed to resist socialism, and yet somehow she still floats in this untouchable glow. The media rolls out the red carpet every time she steps on stage in a $3.00 outfit meant to scream relatable. Rogan joked she could show up to an award show wearing a swan carcass, and Vanity Fair would praise it as revolutionary modesty. Then there's her constant flip-flopping on politics. She says she's out, but drops hints so heavy they shake the ground, like maybe possibly she run for president. She can't enter a room without someone whispering, Madam President, and she doesn't stop them now. Teasing a campaign is basically her version of selling merch. Charlie Kirk didn't hold back, calling it the longest political striptease ever. Every few months, Michelle shows up in a custom pantsuit, says something vaguely presidential like, America needs healing, then vanishes on another book tour. Like a political Bigfoot. Meanwhile, Rogan asked the real question. If she's not running, why does every speech sound like a full-blown State of the Union?
She used to have, don't you agree? She used to present a lot better and with like more zest and more energy and more intensity. It's like this Michelle Obama just looks broken. And she's kind of doing the wine mom thing, and she's just kind of like, I'm just kind of meandering through life. Anyway, I'm not upset about
populated
it.
Like every 30 seconds with, what about...
Let's break down her strange fixation on being America's mom. Remember when she said she was everyone's mother? Rogan nearly lost it. Lady, my mom never gave lectures with a spotlight and a podium. Kirk took it further, saying I didn't vote for her. She's not my mom, and if she tells me to eat quinoa one more time, I'm declaring independence. It's the same formula every time. Step 1, drop a vague line about the nation's soul. Step 2, post a perfectly lit photo with a quote like, when they go low, I launch a skincare brand. Step 3, cry on national TV about being misunderstood while unveiling another global initiative with zero policy and full Instagram filter. Meanwhile, her husband is cruising through post-presidency like a mix of Jay-Z and a Teddy talk star, and she's out here acting like she's struggling to be noticed. Girl, you stood on stage with Beyonce. You don't need visibility, you need a reality check. Rogan called out the irony of someone who lived in the most protected and photographed house in the country, saying she feels invisible. Maybe she means invisible to regular folks, he joked, because they're too busy dealing with $6 gas and student debt to care about her Target trips. Kirk didn't skip a beat. He pointed out the absurdity of Michelle Obama claiming to serve democracy while partying on yachts with Silicon Valley elites because nothing screams power to the people like sipping champagne next to Jeff Bezos on a boat the size of Rhode Island.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh. It's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all.
Let's not overlook her latest children's book about hope and kindness, which basically feels like handing out glitter glue while your mansion is burning down. Rogan summed it up perfectly: optimism's fine, but maybe stop delivering it like a TED Talk while jetting off to Aspen in a private plane meanwhile. Kirk argued it's all emotional filler designed to stir feelings without solving anything. Michelle Obama has turned into a living Pinterest board full of motivational quotes. High-end fashion and carefully curated humility. She's like that Instagram post that says, "Live, laugh, love," while holding a diamond-covered yoga mat. Rogan didn't even have to insult her directly. He just listed the contradictions, saying one thing while living the total opposite. Kirk came with facts, timelines, and the actual effects of her Let's Move campaign, which somehow ended up costing schools more money for meals kids threw straight in the trash. Michelle's entire post-White House image is built on deep emotional appeal while staying completely above criticism. She tears up on cue, says she's been judged, ignored, hurt, but the moment anyone raises a legit point, an army of blue check marks rushes in to canonize her. Rogan joked, "She's invincible unless the attack comes in the form of a valid question," and yet somehow the public keeps getting fed this image of Michelle as the most relatable figure in politics, relatable like diamond-studded sweatpants or a Whole Foods clearance rack. Kirk's final shot: if Michelle Obama is relatable, then I'm a synchronized swimming unicorn.
Michelle Obama and Harris. Harris comes back as the vice president. Michelle Obama's the president. We get a double dose of diversity.
They'll win.
They'll champ.
They'll win. And then who's on the Republican side? DeSantis?
Trump and DeSantis. They have to make a super team. It's the only way they win.
Interesting.
That's the only way they win.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what.
By the time Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk wrapped up, the illusion was completely shattered. Michelle's not stepping away from politics. She is politics, the luxury brand, emotional Instagram-ready version built on vibes, perfect optics, and million-dollar memoirs that say absolutely nothing new but sound profound. And if she ever does run for office, well, we're already set. Rogan's dry roast and Kirk's rage fueled PowerPoint gave us enough content to skip campaign ads entirely. Just play her speeches in reverse. They might actually make more sense. And if all else fails, maybe Michelle can drop a new kid's book called Why Criticism Hurts Me, Even Though I'm a Billionaire, complete with glittery tear stickers and an audio version whispered by Oprah with Beyonce harmonizing in the background, because nothing says hope like being softly lectured by a global icon who just wants to feel seen every time Michelle steps into the spotlight. It's not just her entering the room, the spotlight itself has to get clearance. First, she doesn't walk in, she arrives with mood lighting, rehearsed claps, and probably an organic breeze machine. While most of us are out here figuring out how to pay rent, she's sharing the emotional damage of having Kale judged on national TV, and when Rogan and Kirk looked past the polished smile, they didn't find grit or grace. They found a reality show in slow motion, a loop of luxury sadness dressed in designer labels and wrapped in calculated sincerity. Sure, she's got charm, but it's the kind that comes vacuum sealed tighter than a TSS canned avocado.
Beauty who'd ever walked the face of the earth, then left to write her best-selling memoir for which she was paid millions, then signed a Netflix deal for which she was paid millions, is giving speeches for which she's getting paid almost $1 million per speech, has 2 daughters who went to Harvard and USC. The 2 of them together, I haven't even counted her husband's riches. They're definitely billionaires by now. The house in Martha's Vineyard, which is, I think, $20 million out on the yachts of David. What happened to me? Why doesn't anyone think about what happened to me during my... I'm enraged. I'm almost speechless at how ridiculously...
She's nailed the craft of speaking volumes while revealing nothing at all. Let's rise. She proclaims while strutting past common sense in 6-inch heels. Rogan called it the Wizard of Oz. Strategy, lots of smoke, but no wizard in Kirk. Compared her to a motivational screensaver, sleek and shiny, but completely useless when the lights go out. So the next time Michelle drops a tear-filled op-ed from her luxury spa retreat in the Alps, just know Rogan and Kirk are ready with sarcasm, sharp takes, and maybe even one of those banned gluten-free snacks, while Michelle hovers above the noise on a cloud of curated compassion and green smoothies. The rest of us are still stuck in traffic trying to figure out how someone can preach about struggle from the seat of a private jet. Rogan's eye roll said more than 1,000 op-eds, and Kirk didn't just criticize, he practically exiled her brand to the shadow realm, because at the end of the day, no matter how many Netflix specials she releases or soft-spoken monologues she delivers through high-end microphones, reality doesn't blink, the pedestals crumbling, the sparkles wearing off, and the only thing more disconnected than her message is probably her Wi-Fi in Martha's Vineyard.